Are you going to see any more snow, or indeed any snow? How cold is it going to get, and how long will this wintry weather and this cold spell last? All of those questions we will be answering in this video, and we'll have a look at what the weather could be doing as we head into Christmas week as well. The weather has certainly been cold over recent weeks, and we've seen some significant snowfall in places in the past 24 hours. Lots of heavy snow across Shetland, and before that across the southeast of England as well. First of all, let's take a look at the bigger picture and what has been happening over the past couple of days. Here's the satellite image from the weekend. A big swirl of cloud out in the Atlantic. This is actually a tropical system, quite a bit of warmth tied into that. But we are in the cold air here across the UK. And as we run through what's happened over the past 48 hours, you can see these are snow showers. The speckling on the satellite been packing in across northern Scotland. And this little swirl in here, that is what brought the snowfall across the southeast of England on Sunday night. It's since been easing off and clearing away and left us with some fog and frost and more of these wintry showers coming in across the north. This low pressure, though, this tropical weather system has been getting closer, and it started to throw some cloud up across the southwest. So it's a really interesting weather system that we've got at the moment. Let's take a look at the radar now, what's been happening with that. Across the southeast in particular, this is where we had the snowy conditions on Sunday night. A little swirl developing there. That's what dropped the snowfall since that's eased away. But we've still got showers coming in across the west of Scotland and particularly across the north of Scotland. And if we actually look at the different types of precipitation on the radar, you can see the white here. That's actually where we've seen the snow during Sunday night and Monday morning. That little swirl before it eased away, affecting parts of Essex and Kent in particular, along with other home counties. That's eased off, and in the past 24 hours, look at the snow showers packing in across northern Scotland. Particularly badly hit has been Shetland, as I said, in the past 24 hours. So that's what's happened, and we've got the northerly winds still bringing snow showers in now across northern parts of Scotland and down to the southwest. Well, that is where things are getting really interesting at the moment. If we take a look at the forecast and the projection through the rest of today, through the rest of Tuesday, down to the southwest. If we just play through this, you can see we are looking at some wet weather just coming in here to the far southwest. Further snow showers coming in across northern Scotland. But let's zoom into the southwest, because this is the area, we just pause it there. This is the area that's been giving us a few headaches over the past 24 hours, if not 48 hours. We can zoom into the southwest because the wet weather is arriving here through Tuesday evening and overnight. Now, it is turning milder as the cloud and the rain moves in. So it is largely going to be rain across West Cornwall, but as it hits the colder air, there will be some snow mixed in. If we play through the next few hours, again, just see how that hits the colder air, and there, those blobs, that's where we're hitting the higher ground. So Dartmoor, Bodminmoor, likely to see some snow, but the big question mark, how much snow we are going to see at lower levels, because it kind of just pivots around. It is just a glancing blow before it then sinks its way southward. So that's the big question mark overnight, how much snowfall we could see across the southwest. Now, the most likely scenario is that we see several centimetres on the moors, on Dartmoor and on Bodminmoor, but at lower levels, certainly close to the sea, it is going to be rain or sleet. But there could be certainly a covering across parts of Cornwall, Devon, maybe a centimetre or two when you wake up, and perhaps even a little bit further east into parts of Dorset and Hampshire. But you can see it's really on the cusp as that weather system moves its way in through the night and during tomorrow. Let's zoom out again, because it's not just in the southwest where we're going to see those snow showers. They're still going to keep coming overnight across northern Scotland. And if we play through the sequence during the course of the night, you can see them coming in across eastern parts of England as well. And into Northern Ireland, there will be some wintry showers in here. So likely to see a mixture across Northern Ireland, eastern parts of England, rain, sleet and snow. Anywhere too far inland, it will be snow, and certainly over the hills. So the North York Moors could see further a few centimetres of snow likely, and certainly across northern Scotland all the time, even through Wednesday night and indeed into Thursday. These northerly winds will just continue to feed snow showers. Not going to snow all the time. They will come and they will go, but it could cause some problems, some further problems. There have been significant problems across Shetland in particular over the past day or so. strong winds as well, particularly across Shetland during Wednesday. That is going to enhance the problems as we try and get power back in across Shetland. Let's have a look at the warnings then, because that kind of summarises everything. If we zoom out, then we can have a look at the weather warnings where they are across the UK at the moment. So currently we have a few warnings. We've got one for snow and ice across northern Scotland, ice down across eastern England for these showers coming in here, ice across Northern Ireland, and look what pops up this evening across the southwest, where we do have that threat of snow coming in, a snow and ice warning across the southwest of England. Again, still some uncertainty about that. Most of it's going to be rain or sleet, but there could be a covering of snow in places, and certainly over the moors there could be several centimetres, but it just depends on how far in that wet weather gets and how much interaction with the cold air. But with showers coming into Northern Ireland, it's going to be icy here tonight and tomorrow, and across parts of eastern England. If we fast forward to day 3, notice that warning is still in place across northern Scotland down into northeast England, because we're going to continue to see the snow showers coming in across northern Scotland. Could be further 20 centimetres on the hills and a few more centimetres even at lower levels as those snow showers keep coming in the northerly wind. So this warning is actually valid until Friday. Now we've extended it through the day today, so it continues to be icy and snowy. If you want more information on those warnings, of course, check the app and check the website there, always being updated. So that's in the short term. That is what's going on with our weather over the next day or so. Further issues with ice in particular, but in some locations, particularly northern Scotland and perhaps southwest England, there will be some snow as well. What happens after that? Well, let's take a look at the bigger picture, because we are going to see a bit of a change. Let's just take the jet stream off for now. Here's that tropical system with the warm air in. Let's put the air temperature on, or you can see the warmer air tied into this low that's trying to get in, which is why there's that question mark about how much snow we see in the southwest. But it never quite makes it. It always sticks to the south, and the UK remains in the cold air. If anything, this cold front reintroducing colder air across northern Scotland as we go through the next day or so. Not a great deal of change as we go through Thursday and into Friday. Just subtle shifts in the wind direction means slight variations in where we see the snow showers coming in. But it stays cold. The warm air stays down to the south until things start to mix up a little bit. As we head towards Friday, this is an area of low pressure that's developing, and actually that is going to start to shift the wind direction. If we just fast forward to Friday now, just pause it in there. Now we've got high pressure building across the south, but we've got this low up to the northwest. And notice the map's not as blue, not quite as blue. This low pressure is going to introduce a combination of slightly warmer air, but also these weather fronts are going to introduce moisture, and that could bring some snowfall across parts of Scotland and Northern Ireland on Friday. Take that off. Let's put that on. There is the potential in here in particular, as these weather systems come in, for parts of western Scotland, possibly through the central belt and the hills of Northern Ireland, for seeing some snow as that system moves in. But it is also introducing that slightly milder air. So again, temperatures will just start to rise as we go through Friday and into the weekend. And then we are likely to see a more dramatic change as we go through the course of the weekend. Let's just zoom out a little bit. Take off the precipitation, put the temperature profile back on, because this is really quite remarkable. This low down to the southwest, well, that is going to really switch things up. If we play through what happens during Friday, Saturday and into Sunday, let's just whiz through it a little bit faster, because that high moves away, and then look at this. Look at what's coming in here. Another low, but this one is bringing a whole wodge of warmer air with it. And the map is changing colour across the UK. We are no longer blue by the time we get to Sunday. We are changing to yellow and orange. This low pressure system is going to do a number of things. It's certainly going to turn things milder during the weekend. So if you're not a fan of the cold weather, this is perhaps good news. However, it's not that straightforward. Look at the isobars pinching together. Take the temperatures off. Look at those isobars really squeezing together. That means it's going to get windy. And this is coming up from the southwest, bringing moisture with it. So it is also going to bring some wet weather Eventually it's going to turn milder, but initially it's going to hit that cold air. And as it hits that cold air, it could well produce some snowfall. Now this is 5 days ahead, so the timing, the location of this low, we need to firm up the details of that over the next few days. And that will determine the details of where and how much snow we see as it comes in. But this could be quite a significant feature, bringing wet and windy weather. And for a time, it is likely to bring some snow with it as it moves in, most likely across northern parts of the UK at this stage. But it's something we need to keep a very close eye on, because that is a game changer. It's brushing away the cold air and introducing much milder air across the country. As it does so, as I said, there could be some snow for a time Saturday night and into Sunday, but it's not likely to last. It'll be that time where it could snow heavily for a couple of hours, but then it will just turn back to rain and turn to slush and turn to mush before it turns milder. So it is turning milder as we go through the weekend, as this low pressure system comes in. Details of where and how much snow, and indeed how windy it gets, will be firming up over the next few days. But that is quite a big change. It's cold until the weekend with some ice and some snow, and then it gets quite a bit milder. Let me show you that in another way. Let's have a look at some of the temperature profiles over the next few days. Let's take a look at the maximum temperatures, and you can see how we are going to see this change. Let's pick Hull, for example. Temperatures over the next few days, 1, 2, 3 degrees, barely getting above freezing despite some sunny spells. And then look at that, temperatures on the rise. Saturday up to 5, 6 degrees, maybe up to 8, 9 degrees as we go into next week. So that is getting milder here, but it's not just across into Hull, Glasgow, also seeing those temperatures rising back up to about average for December, 5 or 6 degrees Celsius. Birmingham. Temperatures here too, quite a dramatic shift in Birmingham, up to double digits by Sunday and Monday, and in the capital as well, 10, 11 degrees. Let's have a look at what the minimum temperatures are doing as well. In fact, we can put them both on. Let's take a look at the overnight temperatures also. Pick Southampton. Again, here you can see that trend, 2 or 3 degrees the next few days, up to double figures, 11 or 12 Celsius by Monday. That is such a shift. We've changed by almost 10 degrees, and the nighttime temperatures as well. Look at that, maybe as low as -4, -5 on Thursday morning, and the minima up to +9 on Sunday as that mild air comes in. So it is turning milder as we go through the weekend and into the early part of next week. But of course, this is just looking at one computer model. This is just looking at the Met Office computer model and projections. When we get into this kind of medium to longer range forecasts, we tend to look at many computer models, or one computer model just run many times to give us more of a probabilistic feel, and that gives us a few clues about how the weather might go as we go into next week. So for that, let's take a look at some other charts showing what could happen as we head into Christmas week. This is the temperature profile for Aberdeen, showing the maximum and the minimum temperatures. The red blobs are the maximum, the blues are the minimum. We've got a range here because, as I said, this is when we run the model many times, and it gives a spread, it gives a variation on what could happen to the temperatures. The smaller the box and whiskers, the smaller the blobs, well, the closer all of those computer models are, and therefore the greater confidence we have in the forecast. And you can see here, this is for Aberdeen. This red line is the average, and you can see we're below average for the next few days. But there is a big uptick there. It is going to get warmer as we go through the weekend and into next week. But notice, as we go through next week, the blobs are pretty large, as you'd expect at this kind of range, but that is a signal of uncertainty through next week. Strong signal it's going to get warmer, but how long that lasts, that is the big question mark through next week. And the minimum temperatures also show quite a big spread of those temperatures here. That's the temperature at the surface, but another way of looking at it is looking at about 1.5 kilometres up, and that's what these graphs are showing. One is for Exeter, this one's for Exeter, and this one is for Inverness. Again, run the computer model many times, and the projection here, you can see that we are going to see a bump. This is showing us that it's cold through this week. Into the weekend, we get that bump, we get that rise in temperatures, but it's also showing, pressed it, very sensitive this touchscreen, also showing that it doesn't necessarily last, a potential drop in the temperatures. Now this is for Exeter and this is for Aberdeen, showing something similar, temperatures cold, and then that that bump as the warmer air gets up. But notice it's not a stronger signal. There's a lot of messiness around here, suggesting that some of the computer model runs are telling us that the warm air might not get to Aberdeen. It won't be as strong here. So actually, how far north that milder air gets is also open to a little bit of doubt. It is likely to get milder in Aberdeen, but it may well not last as long as it does further south. But even further south, in Exeter, quite a strong signal that next week it could well get colder, and then we get that big spread as we head towards the Christmas period. So that's the big question mark. It's going to get milder. It probably won't last too long, but how will the weather patterns change as we go through next week? And there is quite a bit of uncertainty about that. If we look at the probability trend through next week, this graph showing the days along the top, previous computer model runs down the side here, and it's a messy old signal. Red is high pressure, blue is low pressure. Obviously, we've got low pressure in control at the moment, and then it just gets really wishy-washy. A bit of a signal for higher pressure next week, but it's a fairly weak signal, not big numbers there. So we're not seeing a lot of evidence one way or the other through next week. But as I say, those graphs earlier from the temperature profile suggesting that it might turn a little bit colder. And that's also shown in the airflow, whether we get northerly or southerly winds. Northerly winds are blue on this chart, southerly winds are red, and you can see again, it gets pink, it gets blue, it gets pale. There's not a strong signal through Christmas week about whether we're more likely to see southerly winds or northerly winds. So quite a bit of doubt still at this stage for the weather into Christmas week. Nothing unusual about that. This is over a week away. We are very confident it's going to get milder through this weekend after cold and wintry weather through the rest of this week. But just looking at that weather into Christmas week, it could still go either way. And we'll be keeping a close eye on it, and we will be keeping you updated on that. Just a couple of other things to show you on that. This is an interesting graph because this shows the confidence in the forecast, if you like, how much confidence we have, how believable the forecast is on this graph. Green is we're confident in it. It's showing that the computer models are in agreement and we're happy with them. And it's quite a bit of green until we get to next week, and they go red fairly rapidly, suggesting again that confidence in the forecast really does drop off beyond Monday and Tuesday. So at the moment, for your Christmas week plans, stay tuned to the forecast. I'll have more in the 10-day trend forecast tomorrow. You'll be able to watch that on YouTube, so make sure you subscribe and you won't miss it. So we'll have more in the Christmas week forecast, say tomorrow, in our 10-day trend. So subscribe to our YouTube channel and then you won't miss that. One more thing to show you is the likelihood of snow into Christmas week. Again, this is from the European model run. This is for next week, the dates going along the top. And this is showing the probability. So it's not showing where it's going to snow. It's showing the probability of seeing a centimetre or more of snow through next week. And that probability ranging from quite high, 60 to 80% on Sunday. That's as that weather system comes in. Again, the snow may not last, but you could see a centimetre of snow and then it will melt away. So quite a strong probability as that system comes in, hits the colder air, of seeing snow, particularly across the northern half of the UK. After that, well, the trend is that, yes, Western Scotland, the high ground of Western Scotland, may well see some snow. The probability is, 40 to 60%. But for much of the UK, the probability of seeing snow into the week next week is pretty low, somewhere around 10 to 20% at most. So I thought I'd show you that as well. That's quite an interesting graphic. So it could well get colder again next week, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to snow particularly hard. One more thing to tell you about. Make sure you are prepared for this wintry weather. We've been talking about it for a while, but you can always look to get prepared for this spell of wintry weather coming up, and make sure you are ready, particularly for Christmas week. Many people will be hitting the roads, of course, so lots of advice on our weather ready pages on our Met Office website about how to prepare if you're travelling away. Make sure your car is all set up for that Christmas journey if you're going anywhere, and make sure you're keeping up to date with the forecast. As I said, quite a bit to play for as we go through next week, so stay tuned, stay up to date with the forecast. And the best way to do that is to follow us across social media, get our app. Our warnings are all on our app, and of course, as I said, subscribe right here on YouTube, and then you will never miss a forecast. But thanks very much for watching.